Welcome to the second session at the Gen6 Trust Academy. Today I explain you how the Gen6 ecosystem is working, what are the building materials of it, how Gen6 implements verifiable digital reality. The first and lowest technical layer of the Gen6 ecosystem is the blockchain. It is the Gen6 blockchain. We built it using the substrate framework, which actually was originally created by the Polkadot ecosystem. Thanks to Polkadot, we had this framework created already. We grabbed it and made really heavy modifications. We had to create our own consensus algorithm, which is called enhanced proof of authority. But what is a consensus algorithm? It is the algorithm, the logic that makes it possible for many blockchain nodes. You can imagine them as servers or services all around the world. So consensus makes it possible for them to communicate with each other and agree what are the balances and what are the proofs, what data is stored on the blockchain. Actually, consensus is one of the main things that makes the blockchain ecosystem separate from traditional systems. In this decentralized consensus algorithm, in our case, the enhanced proof of authority consensus, we have a maximum of 256 validators, and each round one validator is having a chance to validate the blocks. And in this round, if the validation is successful, everyone agrees that the validation is successful, so not just one node but all the other nodes in the ecosystem, in the list of validators, then this validator gets the reward. So the validators who are running the whole blockchain system get rewarded by participating in the system through validation, and the algorithm that is used is the enhanced proof of authority. The next layer after the blockchain is the middleware. The Gen6 middleware creates the connection between the blockchain and the end user application, which is called the Gen6 app. But what does the middleware do? The middleware is a software which can be run by anyone, and it is helping service providers to store the data and store any other information that we don't want to put on the blockchain. We don't want to put the data on the blockchain because the blockchain is a transparent ledger, so we only send through the transactions, we only send the proofs that some data exists. You can imagine these proofs as kind of references to the actual data, but even if just one bit changes, then the proof will be also different. So there is no modification allowed in the data. If there is a modification, then someone is trying to cheat. So this middleware layer is taking care of storing the data and storing some meta, also handling logins to the Gen6 app. Right now, this middleware is running behind the gen6.app domain, but it has multiple instances, and any community member can run this middleware as well, use Gen6 app on their own. So this is a self-hosted solution, which means anyone can host a Gen6 middleware. Thanks for staying with me, because this was the more complicated, more technical part of the Gen6 ecosystem. But now we finally arrive to user space. So the front end and the Gen6 app itself. What the Gen6 app actually is basically a front end, something that you can also self-host. you can run Gen6 app on your computer, so you don't need to rely on the Gen6 app domain. And you can also use the app. The app has this front-end code parts inbuilt, so it is only communicating in the end with the middleware and the blockchain. This helps decentralization. So in this front end in the Gen6 app, this is where users are actually interacting, and our job at Gen6 is to make sure they don't need to do anything with the lower layers. So the user don't need to know how the middleware works, how the blockchain works, how transactions work. They just need to understand the key components and the key concepts behind Gen6 app and the ecosystem. For an average user, it is enough to understand that there is a wallet. The wallet means there is a private key, which is very important to protect. He or she needs to understand that there are transactions. So these transactions take a maximum of 5 seconds. 5 seconds is the block time in the Gen6 ecosystem. Of course, we can make things faster with some caching mechanism, but right now it is not implemented to stay native to the blockchain. It could be actually lower a couple of milliseconds. But then you need to check if the transaction actually went through after 5 seconds again. And if there was some problem, then the user interface can be a little bit quirky. So right now, 5 seconds. And the other things the users need to understand are the solutions. Real seal and, first of all, the identity. So everything is based, all the ownership, all the privacy controls are based on identity. This is the Gen6 global standard #1, GGS1, that you can read about in the wiki. There are many details. It's a full standard that we implemented, and it's actually our own Gen6 standard. Who is storing the data? As I mentioned, the middleware is the one that is storing the data, and it is distributed across multiple nodes. So your data is protected through different distribution systems and backup and snapshots. This is how it works. But the best way actually to store your data and keep it secure is not just to rely on online systems. The best way that is actually practiced for many, many years in Web 2 is to have online backups, also extend these online backups with offline backups. So you can buy some higher quality D or HDD, whichever you prefer. So you buy some storage medium, which is specifically built to store data on the long run, and then you also save your data that you uploaded through the Gen6 app to your storage device, which you choose. And whatever happens online, you still have an offline backup. Remember, the proofs are on the blockchain. So even if you have just the offline backup of your data, you can delete all your data from the middleware. You can have it offline. You still have the proofs on the blockchain. Everything can still work and everything is still protected. Thanks to these mechanisms and algorithms, everything stays secure for the future, and everything can be verified based on the blockchain's proof system. This is how the identity can be proven, data, contents, and many more, and even the badges. So when you see someone with a badge in Gen6 app, green, golden, or blue badge, then this data is checked from the blockchain. Now you know how it works, and in the next video I will show you how to use this knowledge.